Today we celebrate the feast of the Ascension. After the resurrection and Jesus' time with the apostles, he was taken up to his throne of glory. He returned to his Father to reign forever, to look upon us with mercy and grace. Today we celebrate that feast. Jesus appeared to his disciples yet one more time before he was taken up. He appeared to them as he was, and he gave them a message of strength, a message of hope, a message of sending, of commission to the world. Jesus asked his disciples to go forth and to preach and to teach in his name. That they had all that they needed. He had prepared them. He had prepared them that they might go on the way to continue to teach about his love, about his call, about the church, and about salvation. Today, we too are also commissioned to take up that message, to take up that call, to go forth into the world, and to realize that Jesus has given us all that we need to preach the message, to preach the word, to preach his love, and to share with one another our call to holiness and to union with him and the Father. When Jesus left them, they remained. They remained there for a minute, looking up in the sky, waiting for Jesus to reappear. It is a foreshadowing or a remembrance of what happened in the Feast of the Transfiguration. Jesus was up with his disciples on the mountain, and the angel of the Lord in the Holy Spirit said, "This is my Son. We are well pleased with him." And they continue to say, "What should we do? Should we prepare tents? Should we do whatever?" And two men said to them, "Why are you standing here? Go forth. This Jesus is here. He is yours. He is to be preached and to be taught." Today we see two men say to them, "Go back. Teach and preach. Live your lives. Pray and be people of leadership and of faith." They go back, as Jesus calls them to the temple to pray and to teach until the sending of the Holy Spirit. Yesterday we had an experience, the Bishop, Deacon Rick, and June and I. We had the opportunity to share with our brothers and sisters of the Episcopal communion in the ordination and consecration of two new bishops. And it is always a celebration when the church calls people to service. But it was a very special occasion this day because Christ had called two females to the order of the bishopric. Two females to go forth and to preach and to teach and to confirm and to ordain and to offer the sacrifice to the people of God and to lead the church and to be shepherds in the church. It was a historic event for me because I was able to be surrounded by so many people who had been called, both lay and ordained, who were so prepared to celebrate the church's call to be church. The church's call to call ones from amongst their own to celebrate and to be the leaders of the organization. And it was so inspiring to me that everyone realized that this was the church in action. This is what Jesus has called the church to be. This is how Jesus called the church to act. And I sat and I reflected upon our call as the American Catholic Church. our call to call from amongst ourselves, our call to realize that it is us acting together as church that creates what we have and what we are as a sacramental people. It is so important that we realize by our baptism and by our call to Christianity, by our call to receive the sacrament, by our call to preach and teach to our brothers and sisters, we are doing wonderful things. We have a powerful sermon to preach, and we have so much to offer to those who are in need. I was inspired by some of the words of the people who spoke at the ordination, especially the Bishop of Los Angeles, the Episcopal Bishop of Los Angeles. And I wanted to share two of the quotes from his homily yesterday that really struck me. Bishop Bruno, he made a statement. Because as you know, anytime anything different happens, you have those people who are naysayers. And sometimes we may be those naysayers, or we may have been those naysayers in the past. I know in my experience, as I've grown in my faith, I have grown. Because days in the past, I would have also considered a woman priest, let alone a woman bishop. But I have grown to realize that my limited understanding was limiting our call and the call of others to serve Christ. We are all called to serve Christ. And we have so many here in our church, in our Catholic church, both American Catholic, the Roman Catholic Church, and all the denominations within the Catholic tradition who can preach the message, teach the message, and offer sacrifice to our God. And he said that there are those who are dissenting and those who are against what we are about to do. But we are called to preach to all people, especially those who don't agree to us, those who don't agree with what we say and what we do, because they too are children of God. And his quote is, "The world's transformed only if we turn to each and every one of our brothers and sisters and see the face of Christ superimposed on them." He goes on to say, "The ones we disagree with the most are the ones we're obligated to share our lives and to teach the most." It's easy to talk with those who agree to us. It's easy to preach to the choir, but it is more difficult for us when we have to come with a message of truth, with the message of salvation, with the message of Jesus to those who don't agree. We are a church. We are the church. And we witnessed something very special last night. May we learn from our brothers and sisters that one day, as Jesus prays, all of us may be one. We may do away with all those things that separate us, all of our prejudices, all of those things that do not allow us to be who we are called to be. And I want to end with one last quote from the bishop, which I think speaks to us. "We are a mixed batch, but we are stronger because we are all of these things. We are stronger because we respect the dignity of every human being, that we stand for their right to stand up and be the people of God. It does not matter what their physical ability is. It does not matter who they are, what race, what country they come from, what sexuality they have. It matters only that they are